Mr. Speaker, we ask the government under what scenario they think abuse is more likely to occur. Under a scenario where brothels are underground and you have no legal protections, where you fear coming forward to the police for fear that you'll be arrested because you don't understand the law completely yourself, or you fear that your clients may be subject to legal punishment. Or a system where you have workplace protections, where you have award wages, where you can speak to your union and seek betterment for your life. We think that under our model, you are much more likely to see a system where prostitutes get the best out of their lives. Under their model, prostitution will still occur. It's just going to be much more exploitative for everyone involved. I've got 3 arguments which I'm going to speak about in today's debate, and can you clap me in 1 minute because I don't have time? Yep. Sure. Firstly, why we think prostitution is principally okay. Secondly, how we think criminalisation doesn't reduce the harmful elements of prostitution. And thirdly, why the legal system is less likely to be exploitative. So firstly, why is prostitution principally okay? Firstly, what we tell you on the opposition is we support the rights of people to engage in whatever labour they choose. So to associate with whoever they choose to associate with, etc. We recognise that the majority of prostitutes, so it's a thing that the government wanted to ignore, but the majority of prostitutes freely choose to engage in this form of labour, and they shouldn't be denied the right to choose what they want to do with their bodies. Secondly, what we tell you is that there's no policy reason to regulate due to health risks, because we don't think there is intrinsically anything harmful to your health from engaging in a safe form of sexual activity like we support, which is the things that are in our model. So that's things like requiring that all prostitutes use condoms, ensuring that unions can get in there and making compulsory health checks for STDs and things like that. Thirdly, what we tell you is that prostitution is indistinguishable from other career paths. Why is that? Firstly, we think there's no clear distinction between the trades that occur in the prostitution relationship and trades that occur in your personal life. So we recognise that every day, within the context of relationships, people trade sex for perhaps gifts or other things. We think that that is perfectly valid and that is something that we're happy to support. Secondly, though, what we tell you is that there's no distinction between using your arms as a labourer or a bricklayer, or using your cock or vagina to earn a living. We think that that is a valid choice and something that you should be empowered to do. Thirdly, finally, what we heard from Tom was it's demeaning to all women if you allow prostitution. Why is this? Because apparently we wouldn't be able to associate, we would just know that women are prostitutes and therefore we sexualise all women. Firstly, we say sexists are pigs, and we're not happy to allow sexists to dictate our policy in day-to-day life. Secondly, we say it's more demeaning to women when you say they can't control their sexuality and they are free agents that can do what they want. Thirdly, we recognise that not all prostitutes are women, so those sexists are probably going to have a muddled message when they have to deal with gay prostitutes and male prostitutes as well. Second up, does criminalisation reduce the harmful elements of prostitution? Where legal, we recognise that the majority of people seeking prostitutes are law-abiding citizens who don't want to break the law. So they're the people that won't go around and skirt the law by demanding that their prostitute doesn't use a condom or seek other illegal things, but they actually just want to self-actualise in some way and get some form of happiness. Why is that? Firstly, because they have a fear of the law, like a valid fear of the law, because they'll be punished for demanding things like not having condoms. Secondly, we recognise that it's for health reasons. People who've engaged in legal prostitution do value the protection that condoms give them. Thirdly, we think it's because they enjoy feeling like they are law-abiding citizens. They don't enjoy the idea that they are criminals going around behind the law. This is what we see in the states in Australia where prostitution is legal, such as the ACT and New South Wales. We don't see those harmful things occurring. Secondly, though, what we think is that people are going to visit prostitutes regardless of legality. So that's something they didn't want to deal with under their case. But what we tell you is that even if prostitution is illegal, people are still going to want to go see prostitutes. They're the underground brothels I spoke about in my model. What we think, though, is that those underground brothels exist to an extent under either model. But where there is no form of legal avenue for you getting a prostitute, the only way you can have sex with someone for money is to go to those underground brothels. That means more people are likely to go to them and more prostitutes will work in them with less protections. Now, furthermore, what we heard was that, Thirdly, we think that a legal system is less likely to be exploitative, and that's why we're happy to support that in today's debate. Why is this? Firstly, we ensure that there are ID checks and things like that for prostitutes in the first place. So we can reduce the things like human trafficking that occur under a model where you don't know who is a prostitute or anything about them, because there will be huge costs associated with those people when we find out that pimps are trafficking people into the prostitution business. Secondly, it makes it much easier to provide health services and things to prostitutes, because we know who they are and where they work. So we can provide them with the condoms for free and sexual health checks for free that they so desperately need. Secondly, we recognise that there will be legal protections for workers. So people are less likely to be forced into that system in the first place due to coercion, or to be exploited by their pimps and employers, because they have rights that they can enforce on their employers. They can sue those employers for breaches. Thirdly, we recognise that people won't be afraid to come forward when they're abused, because they know that what they're doing is legal and the person who abused them broke the law. They know that they have nothing to fear and their legal clients have nothing to fear from coming forward. What we then heard was that, but if all brothels are illegal, it's therefore less likely to occur at all that people would go to these brothels in the first place. Mr. Speaker, I bring you back to what I said in my opening. What system is more exploitative? A system where all brothels are underground and that's where all clients go, or a system where the majority of people choose a legal form of sex for money? Mr. Speaker, for all these reasons and more, we're proud to oppose.